His Excellency Mr. Grain W.P. Malunga, Minister of Natural Resources, Energy and Environment of Malawi. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Madam President, the Secretary General, the Executive Secretary of the Framework Convention on Climate Change, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to add my voice to previous speakers in congratulating you as the President of the 15th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and 50th session of the Conference of the Parties, serving as the meeting of the parties to the Kyoto Protocol. Madam President, my delegation also wishes to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the people and government of the Kingdom of Denmark for the hospitality extended to us since our arrival in this beautiful city of Copenhagen. Madam President, my delegation would like to align itself with the statements made by Sudan on behalf of the Group of 77 and China, and Lesotho on behalf of the least developed countries, LODCs. Madam President, Malawi in sub-Saharan Africa lies in the part of the world that is most vulnerable to the adverse effects of climate change, and yet being an LODC is among those countries that are least capable to cope with the impacts. In the last 2 decades, Malawi has experienced increased frequency of extreme climatic hazards such as intense rainfall, floods, droughts, prolonged dry spells, heavy thunderstorms, and hailstorms, among many others. Sectors mostly affected include agriculture, infrastructure, energy, health, fisheries, forestry, water, wildlife, and gender. These impacts are a threat to the country's socio-economic development and attainment of the internationally agreed development goals, including the Millennium Development Goals. As such, Malawi has placed climate change as a key priority area in its overarching development strategy, known as the Malawi Growth and Development Strategy. Further, Malawi has developed national adaptation programs of action, NAPA, to address problems arising from the adverse impacts of climate change. However, Madam President, Malawi needs financial assistance to support the implementation of the NAPA and the formulation and implementation of other national adaptation plans beyond the NAPA. This will assist communities to cope with the adverse impacts of climate change through initiatives such as the Green Belt Initiative that promotes irrigation farming to ensure food security at household level. Madam President, the world has waited long enough all the way from Bali to Copenhagen to have an agreement that will ensure people's survival and sustained economic development. In this regard, as reiterated by most of the developing countries, Malawi's position is that at this COP15 CMP5, we shall adopt fair, ambitious, and legally binding conclusions and decisions on a legally binding agreement under the Convention to conclude a comprehensive process that will enable the full, effective, and sustained implementation of the Convention through long-term cooperative action now up to and beyond 2012, which we all agreed in Bali. A legally binding agreement on further commitments for Annex 1 parties under the Kyoto Protocol as per its Article 3, Paragraph 9. An agreement allowing continuation of the Kyoto Protocol in its revised form for the second commitment period and subsequent commitment periods. Massively scaled up and additional mid-term to long-term financing under the authority and guidance of the COP, with modalities for direct access for adaptation, mitigation, capacity building, and technology transfer. We believe that these financial resources should be over and above the existing overseas development assistance from developed countries, with a special preference given to the needs of least developed countries, and a comprehensive adaptation framework that will look into immediate, mid-term, and long-term adaptation needs of developing countries. Finally, Madam President, Malawi is joining other developing countries in calling upon the Annex I countries to adhere to their commitments made under the UNFCCC and assist the developing countries in their endeavor to adapt to the effects of climate change. Madam President, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention. Thank you.